Dear Heavenly Precious Father, we thank you humbly for the opportunity to be here today as a commission. God, I just pray that we leave Nicholas County better off than where we found it. We have multiple decisions to take part in here today. God, I just pray you give us the humility, the courage, and the understanding to make the right decisions. And I pray we have a good meeting. Everyone gets home safe after the meeting. In your holy and precious name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. We'll call this regularly scheduled meeting. Now we'll call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission to order. Today is Wednesday, February 7th, 2024, and it is 9:15 a.m. Let's begin with the motions here, and then we'll go to public comment, please.
I make a motion we review and waive the reading of the January 17th, 2024 minutes.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion or edits? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, move to approve accordingly.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the estates and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, we move to approve accordingly unless otherwise noted.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon submission of budget revisions received from elected officials and department heads, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the invoices submitted by the various departmental offices, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Motion does carry. For terms of office expiring, we first begin with the Nicholas County Historic Landmark Commission concerning the position of Wayne Acord. Thank you.
I will actually talk to him. I don't have any reason to believe that he would not want another term. He does a really good job and brings a lot of value to the board.
I make a motion we reappoint him.
Okay, that motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Wayne's done a lot of good work for the commission, so I appreciate him.
Yes, sir.
Hope he wants to stay on. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry. And then Mr. Ken Summers, term of office expiring February 22nd, 2023, a 3-year term.
I would make the same statement.
I'll make a motion we reinstate him.
Okay. The motion's on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Aye. The motion does pass. The Historical Society and Genealogical Society representative to the Historic Landmark Commission is Mr. Joseph Strickland, term of office expiring February 22nd, 2024, and this is only a 1-year term. We have a motion on that.
He just took over as president, right, for that? For that, it was a little bit of a, there was a shift in leadership.
Good morning, sir.
I know he's the interim, but I don't know if he's permanent or not,
Understood.
if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion that we extend him over the year term.
Yeah, but I know he's interested especially
Yes.
in
He seems to be
Landmark.
pretty
Hey,
passionate
take all
about
that,
it.
ownership over in action.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against? Motion does carry. Concerning the Nicholas County Fire Board, first we have Benjamin Ben Bly with a term of office expiring February 6, 2024 at a 3-year term. However, this position is termed out. You can only have 2 consecutive terms on the fire board per their bylaws, and so Mr. Bly and Mr. Davis, the next one, are both termed out. And so we do have to have replacements on those. And I'll go ahead and mention Steve Davis one of the chief representatives, fire chief representatives, with a term of office expiring February 6, 2024 for a 3-year term. Again, he is also termed out, and the Fire Association gets to recommend to the commission, and they have recommended Noah Allen, the chief of wilderness, to take that place.
Which one?
Steve's?
Steve Davis
Okay.
as the chief,
Gotcha.
one of the 3 chief positions.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, that motion is on the floor to appoint Noah Allen to a term of office expiring February 6, 2027, 3-year term on the Nicholas County Fire Board. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Concerning the position of Benjamin Bly, I don't know of anybody. If you know anybody.
Does it have to be any certain region?
It has to be just a citizen from anywhere in the county.
Okay.
But it is
They don't have
not.
your recommendations?
No.
Okay.
John?
Did you hear any more about a citizen for the fire?
No, not yet.
I haven't either.
You want to
Okay.
table that one?
Let's table that
Find
one to the
somebody
next
till
meeting, and we'll still have a full quorum otherwise, just with that one absence, so. And in fact, the meeting this month got canceled for lack of business, so. I
Somebody
think we'll be
would
fine.
be good if I could take it.
Okay. Very good, because I can't find it. Now, the Fenwick Mountain PSD. This is the position for Delmas Bennett Jr. with a term of office expiring February 17th, 2024. Up for appointment for a term of office expiring February 17th, 2030. Sounds like a big commitment, but that's a 6-year term on a PSD, so do we have a motion for Mr. Bennett or anyone else
You have no problem with that PSD.
for Fenwick Mountain? That is absolutely right.
So I would say reappoint him if he'll take it.
Okay.
You agree with
Yep.
That being said, that motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. To our public comment period now, we do have Summer Dillsworth with us from the Nicholas County Board of Education. And this is to discuss with the commission about communities in schools.
Yes, do I need to stand or?
However you want to
Okay.
do it. And we
I've
have
never done
a,
this. Next to the
if you don't
microphone.
mind, just for audio purposes.
Yeah, sure.
And is it 5 minutes, 3 minutes?
that.
And then we have a 3-minute, but
I'll be
you're not
quick.
here to complain, so.
No, I'm just here to tell you a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
Complaints are 1 minute, statements are 5, so.
No, I'm just here to tell you a little bit about our program that we just started. So, Communities in Schools is a new program in Nicholas County through the Nicholas County Board of Education. And as of now, we're in 3 schools within the county. So we're at Panther Creek Elementary, Richwood Middle School, and Richwood High School. Our role is to make sure that all students have access to the community resources and tools that they need to unlock their potential and to thrive. Ways that we do this is to provide a caring community of support, elevating access and opportunity, and re-engaging students who are falling behind. We're trying to get the children to remain in the schools, promote them to the next grade, and to graduate. All students deserve educations that lead to successful futures. Students thrive when they're in environments that they feel safe, respected, engaged, and valued. When students feel safe, they respond with enthusiasm and commitment. And when they're engaged, they strive to succeed and learn more effectively. When we show them that they're valued, they embrace their potential and create stronger futures for themselves and their community. Together, we can support more students. So I came today to ask for your support in any kind of resources that you guys can help with, supplies or anything that we could get to our students. We are currently needing a space, so you guys know the current situation at Richwood Middle and Richwood High. We currently do not have a space to have confidential conversations with the students to make them kind of feel comfortable to telling us what they need. And so I'm just coming for you to ask if there's any way, I don't know if there's any specific funding or anything like that that you guys could help. We currently we partnered with New Beginnings Worship Center, and they are giving us food to send out to the kids. Some kids will take it, some kids will not,
Right.
and I'm willing to even take it to their homes and put it on the porch or whatever I need to do. But we're one of the last counties in West Virginia to have this program, and we're just trying to make it as
successful as we can to reach those students and the potential that they have. So that's all. I just
So
wanted to
you're-
let you know.
When you need a space, go into a little more detail.
Okay, well, currently, I'm sharing with, Deputy Deeds, or I think it's his, I don't know, what, yeah. I'm sharing with him, so, we're in a little tiny closet. I didn't know if there was, and we have space for, a small building or something that we could put out there to kind of make it an office. And actually, Billy Giles was supposed to be with me today, but she got caught up at the school and couldn't make it. And then Monica Belmont, she's at Panther Creek, but she has space. So it's Billy and I. So like in my space right now, it's full of food. I don't have space to meet with anybody. And then in Billy's, it's all clothes and stuff, and it's in the back of one of the trailers at the school. So she can't really. It's not really confidential. And so we feel like we could get to more kids if we had a confidential space that they could come to and talk to us. So that's basically what we need, is just like an 8x8. I mean, just something small that we could take the kids and meet with them and talk to them. So.
Has there been any discussion with the board on any kind of funding?
So currently, I've talked to. There's just no space in the school, and then funding. We're kind of at a standstill with that when I've talked to them about that. So, and one of the things that the communities and schools, people that oversee the program from the state level, told us to go talk to commission and commissioners and stuff like that. So that's why I'm here today, to even
No,
just let you
absolutely.
know
Understood. Yeah,
about our
absolutely.
program, and you don't have to tell me anything today. It's just something to think about.
So your target audience have to be kids that are academically behind?
Yes.
Or
So
they
one
refer
thing
to
I'm
you?
really focusing on is attendance,
Mhm.
because our attendance rates are down. And so I'm following up a lot with the kids that miss school. I'm calling every day to ask if they're okay, if they need anything. But we go beyond that, food, clothing, services, like if their power gets shut off or something like that, trying to reach out to churches and stuff to get funding to get that put back on for their families and stuff like that. It's kind of like a social worker in a way, but we're dealing more with the kids more than the families.
Gotcha. Encourage kids. And your funding for your salaries and stuff, is that a Board of Education based program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you guys are basically headquartered out of
Yeah.
Board of Education.
Yeah.
And you guys do mentorship and tutoring and stuff like that as
Yes,
well, or
yes.
just resources?
Yes, we do. So we're going to start pulling for small groups and stuff. We just started in December,
Mhm.
so it's new. But we're going to start pulling kids for small groups. I know Monica's already doing that at Panther Creek Elementary. But and I meet with kids that need to just talk to
Gotcha.
about things or.
Let's get some stuff off their shoulders.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Have you talked to Mark at VOTEC about building you a little
No,
space?
I have not. That's a good-
That might be your best route.
Okay, yeah, that's a great idea.
And you might check also too, the First Lady, Kathy, she's very big in this program, so there might be
Yes.
some state funding for something like that too, for this special circumstance.
Okay, sure. Typing it down so I don't forget. I'm sorry that my other colleagues couldn't come today. Like I said, they got tied up. Once I didn't go to the
No
school
problem.
first thing this morning. Usually when I do, I get caught up. So I knew if I did that, then I'd be like, oh. So that's what they did.
Great.
So thank
Well,
you all for listening.
Thanks, no
Oh, yeah.
But see
Coming.
if you can get Mark to do it, and
Yeah.
tell him he'll build the building, I'll move it for him.
Okay.
To the school.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, let's take a quick recess and make sure we're on track here. Okay, we're here now with County Clerk Robert Painter. This is concerning a request for election equipment. All right.
So, we talked about this a little bit back and forth. We got a quote to outfit our Bridgewood early voting site with their own DS200, which can quotes and 12 press votes. cost of all of that with installation, shipping, and handling and everything is $15,740. And what I'd like to do with this, because the election equipment is vital infrastructure, is take it out of our coal reallocated service tax. Which can be used on infrastructure, and not much else.
Do you get any of this back, like from any kind of grants or Secretary of State's or anything?
Probably not. There's a possibility I could, but.
That's kind of like a big transition back in the day, but not a regular program. That's what I figured, yeah.
This will give us spares in the system too, in case something were to go down.
It would.
One election.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because this is early voting.
This is early voting. What it helps us with is, once we program stuff and lock it with tags, we don't have to move that equipment around between now and election day. When we did the trial run, we just used election day equipment in early voting and then reprogrammed it.
Right.
I don't know exactly on that.
Understood.
Well, I think it's necessary we do this. I support this request.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we buy this machinery and take it from the coal reallocation.
Yeah. Thank you.
And on this, election systems and software, that's the company we bought all the other stuff off of. It's the standard
Yeah.
and everything else. Okay, that motion's on the floor again for a bid from Election Systems and Software for a total of $15,740 for the required election equipment for early voting in the Richwood location. Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Okay, we're here now concerning the estate of Dennis Naylor, file number 10575. This is a request for the removal of an executor. We do have individuals here in the commission with us here this morning. If you all would please state your names for the record.
David Clutter.
Kelly Linton.
David Clutter Sr.
Okay, thank you. If you all don't mind, real quick, we got to do it with everybody. If you don't mind, to raise your right hands, please. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that in the matter now in hearing, your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And we do have a hearing by phone on this. Legal counsel to the commission, Greg Tucker, and also attorney P.K. Milam. Mr. Milam, let's get a brief from the clerk's office, then Mr. Milam will have you begin, please.
Okay. All right, on December 14th, 2023, our clerk's office received a letter from attorney James Milam, who represents Connie Naylor, widow of Dennis Naylor, beneficiary to the estate. He expressed concern of the inaction of the executor and is asking that the executor be removed. At that time, there had not been an appraisement filed. The estate was opened June of last year, 2023, but since then, an appraisement has been filed in this matter as of late Friday evening.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Milam.
Well, she was breaking up there pretty bad, but what we have here is we have Mr. Naylor died back in May of 23, and there really hasn't been any movement in the estate. The appraisal was just filed last week. The reason this is important, the reason we're seeking removal is Mrs. Naylor is left here. There was a will submitted where she was left $5. 4231, where she'll be electing or taking an elected chair, it looks like, based on the will of Mr. Naylor. But our problem is she needs finality in this. Her home's in limbo as well as numerous other things. And when we compiled the letter to remove Mr. Clutter, he hasn't taken any action and only filed the appraisal last week, I believe. So we believe he's failed to do duties. We've asked for his removal. Ms. Naylor be appointed so she can move this estate along.
Okay, thank you.
Is she the only beneficiary?
No.
No, Greg, if you heard that, no, she is not. Yes, there are two, Mr. Tucker. It's David Lee Clutter and Connie Sue Naylor. Okay, Mr. Clutter.
Actually, he's the executor.
Okay.
He's the inheritor.
Oh, okay.
Just tell him.
Ever since I've been trying to get down there to do the appraisal, she has kept the gates locked. The garage has had different padlocks on it every time I've been down there. I've asked her for the keys. She's refused the keys time and time again. When I did get in the garage, she called the law, told them that I was there trespassing, stealing, and told them that she had a protective order against me, which was a lie because it had been, she tried to get one, and it was not taken up or however. And because of that, the law was always threatening to show up and arrest me and anybody with me. And anytime that I came back after, after the fact, there was stuff missing. So half the stuff that I had on the appraisal sheet was gone. I don't know exactly where it was going or what the case was. Right down to 3 entire buildings missing.
It's not the contents, the buildings.
So that's, you're stating that's the reason for the delay so far, sir. And then when you're able to finish it up, and said that was filed last week, that's just what you're able to gain access to, or is that a full appraisement, or?
That's just what I have had limited access to and memorize, or just what we have off memory. Because we have yet to actually be able to go down and take an appraisement. They refuse access to the property.
Did you hear that, Mr. Milam?
I didn't hear one word of it, to be honest with you.
Mr. Clutter had mentioned he had had difficulty gaining access to the property and to the contents to be able to do the appraisal. Do you have a response to that?
I don't, I mean, my client, Ms. Taylor, is willing to give him full access to his job, it's just lack of doing it. And if he's gonna move along with this, we could withhold this, we could withhold our motion to remove him if he's going to move along at this point now. If he's able to do the inventory, he should be able to move along quite quickly.
Could you make sure that he has access to do that?
Set up a date.
Certainly.
We would probably need an amended appraisal, just so, as Mr. Roberts said, this is not a complete appraisal of the estate, and we should have a complete appraisal. So maybe they can work that out and get that amended appraisal filed so that it can move forward. I mean, it's a duty to file a complete inventory of the estate.
Right.
What should we do about the things that are missing that should be there? The garage has been cleaned out as best we've been informed.
Vehicles missing. I mean, several vehicles that were there, not there.
These are friends of ours that are mutual friends between us and Miss Naylor that have come to us and said that, Dennis probably had, $150,000 to $200,000 worth of tools and stuff inside the garage. That's all gone.
Mr. Milam, are you aware of Miss Naylor selling off any tools, equipment, or vehicles?
I was advised not to do any of that.
She went against it.
Okay.
At that point, it would require, like, if there's a vehicle, a title that had been transferred from one name to another, proof of that, because like when you quoted memory, it's all fact-based. So you have to have a bill of sale to prove something existed, or a title that had been transferred or something, so.
We've not been able to gain any kind of
Understood.
access. She will not give us any information, no paperwork, no keys, no anything.
Yeah.
Keeping us at the gate.
I think
Perhaps you could
Mr.
work through Mr. Milam. Work through Mr. Milam and get that information.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Are you okay, PK, with Mr. Clutter getting in touch with you so maybe you can coordinate all these things?
Absolutely, that's fine, I'd be glad to help.
Okay. Will you care to do that?
I would not mind at all.
Let's start off with that as being the first step, as you get in touch with Mr. Milam's office and work together. Then if there's roadblocks for the things that you feel that are missing, I would make an inventory list. Everything should be serial numbered and, like a VIN number on a vehicle. The things, the buildings you say are missing, are those the portable buildings or what?
Structural. The one was a metal building, like a Lowe's building, that was anchored to a concrete slab. It's completely
You'll
missing.
never trace that.
Right, there's no way to put only thing that we can do, we've got satellite imaging from pictures of the
So as I
buildings
say, you
that
can
were
Google
there.
Earth it by dates.
Right,
I've
so
got
we
Google
have done
Earth
that.
pictures with me, actually.
So,
But our recommendation is let's work through Mr. Milam. Apparently they want to settle this and get it finished.
we do
So,
too.
so start with that process. His office is right across the street over here. You can probably just walk right over there and talk with his girls or something, and set up a time that you can coordinate. Because if you guys aren't going to talk, you're going to have a mediator. So
We have tried,
I understand.
right, sure,
It takes two people to make a conversation.
absolutely.
One other thing you can do is check the assessor's office and see what inventory, or what vehicles have been taxed.
Yeah, they have a yearly everything, and it should be somebody even comes out and Ernie should have a drawing of like their buildings and where they were.
Above and beyond, we also have pictures just that we have that were fairly recent. Any of that work for proof of
I've got
content?
pictures of like 2-3 days after he passed of everything that was
The first time
outside.
we
I mean, it could be
Actually,
presented to the commission, we
Sure.
could take it under consideration. Yeah.
So-
Okay.
But yeah, I
But
mean,
main
we
thing,
just have to
we have to
evaluate
see
from
what
there.
comes to us. That's how you
Right.
make a
Absolutely.
judgment. So if you'll work with them, we
We
can
will.
just table this, how we do it.
Yes.
We'll table this until you guys can start a conversation, and if you can't get something resolved, it'll probably have to go to another division.
Mr. Tucker, do you recommend just 2 weeks out, or give them a month, or
Well, why don't we just
timeframe?
table it indefinitely, and if there's a problem, they can bring it back before the commission.
Okay. I agree with that. Mr. Milam, by phone, I just want to make sure you have a chance in case you want to add anything else.
No, that's fine, thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. That being said, do we have a motion to table until further action is necessary?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming in.
Thank you all.
We will go to another recess. We're here, yes, oh, I'm sorry, yes. We're here with Mary Jane Williams, the president of the board for the Richwood Community Center. I'm sorry, remind me your first name.
Marcia.
Marcia Hannah also here in attendance.
She's a member of the board too.
And a member of the board, thank you. It's been a long morning, I guess. But anyways, this is regarding the roof of the Richwood Community Center.
Right, I know I sent you a letter about this. We have already spent $500,000 on the building, making all the major investments and renovations and all. But the critical need right now is the renovation of the roof. For the last 2 years, we've spent $6,000 a year patching and thinking this will hold. But it's a roof that was not glued on, wasn't adhered. It was what they do. They use the gravel as ballast. 25 years ago, those gravels were put there, and so we want an adhered roof, and then that way the water can't get underneath and cause cracks and the dripping like we're getting right now. It is significantly worsened that we have at least 4 areas that we're watching and we're maintaining, cleaning the drains. But you know, when you get a foot of snow on the roof, it makes it kind of difficult to do that. We're so concerned that it's going to end up leaking and ruining everything we've done to renovate, from the ceiling with the drop ceilings to the floors to the air conditioning unit, in which we're trying to divert the water that's dripping on the unit so it doesn't damage that. We're partnering with the city of Richwood, and we're trying to raise $250,000 is the grant that we're looking at to replace the community center roof. We're working with a professional grant writer from Downstream Strategies, and so we're working together with them. We put together this proposal for the USDA, and when we talked to the USDA, they verified that having matching amounts would significantly impact securing the grant. So what we've done is we have $3,000 that we've committed from the Richwood Community Center, with plans to do more fundraising, so that the costs are going to go up. So as the costs go up, we'll be able to raise a little bit of money, hopefully up to $10,000 to match a little bit more beyond this here. And then $15,000 is pending from the Bernard McDonough Foundation. They're up in Parkersburg. And another $96,000 is pending from the Milan Pushkar Foundation. So we're asking Nicholas County Commission's urgent support for the final $37,000 to secure the USDA grant of $99,000. And I know you know that, you know, we have all kinds of activities. We have indoor and indoor walking groups for all ages. We actually have 2 different groups, almost 3, that are walking different times of the day. We have a large venue for sporting events, not just the itty bitty basketball, but we also have the high school baseball team uses it from now until May, and then cheerleaders use it. We do wedding receptions as well as birthday parties and all kinds of events. We can actually be an emergency center if we need to be. And it's the town's primary, you know, source of a facility for recreation, so.
When do you think you might hear back from Bernard Foundation, the Milan Puskar Foundation?
I've talked to both of them. We need to know by the end of February because we have to submit the grant. I believe it's February 28th, so we will know hopefully by February 28th.
Okay.
Now, is the USDA grant only 99,000?
Yes, I think you have to have about a 50% match. So that was the amount that they felt. You know, from USDA, when they talked to them, they said that they could probably do 99,000 if we can get a match.
Now, will they allow some of these other grants considered their match? You know, like you've got here Bernard McDonough
Yes,
and
yes. So you know,
Puskar.
we're trying to get everybody together. That would add up to the other 151, I guess.
Okay, and the 2 things I don't see on here, and it's going to I sound like a recording when I say this, but I don't see the City of Richwood, or I don't see the foundation. And
What do you mean? The city of Richwood owns the building.
right, but they're not putting any money in. You know, and I mean, I know they got some opioid money, you know, that could go towards some of this. And then you all have a foundation up there that should be putting money into this.
Well, the foundation is making the grant. You know, they have put money in, so I know that that's something they continue to do. I was trying to think of what they did recently. Yeah, I mean, I just know that we're constantly, and we're working hand in hand with, she's with the foundation
Yes.
too, so. And, you know, so they have supported us in other things or something. We just got $1,000 for it, I forget what it was. But yeah. And then, you know, with the city, I mean, by the end of February, we might know a little bit more, but,
Well, I mean,
And the
for
opioid
us,
thing has to be.
we would like to see that.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
coming from, you know, if we're willing to put skin in the game, you guys do too. You know what I'm saying? And 37,000 is a lot considering as much as we put in to the pool and to the park and things like that. And we've really got to do some stuff to this courthouse too. You know,
Right.
our sidewalks are getting pretty dangerous out there, and we're going to have to put a bunch into that. So, in my opinion, I want to see them put some in, and not that we're not going to help you, but we want to see some over here.
when the city does pay for the water and they do maintenance, and so, you know, I'm hoping that they're gonna be doing the patching of the roof. We just purchased the materials today to buy that, to stop that leak. And they continue to do that. The foundation is continuing to raise money for the floor, which I think we just got the money we needed recently, right? So, I mean, they're doing, but not specifically for this grant, but they're, you know, they're always putting money into the community center.
Okay.
What's your take, Commissioner Roberts?
All right, so my push all along was to fix the roof before floor went in. That's the whole thing. I mean, that's what I'd ask. The last meeting when Mr. Chambers came in, we were told that the existing roof would last 5 to 7 years. So that's kind of where I was on the roof all along on the before thing. So in my mind, that money would be shifted. I don't know if anything's dedicated directly to the flooring, but that roof needs to be taken care of like 100% first. So if I had money and I was going to shift, I would shift money from the floor to the roof and try to backfill that. That's just my take.
Oh, I see,
But
from the gym floor.
I push for roof all
Sure
along.
that, because
Well,
the
this
money
is not the gym. This is only the flat side.
Understood.
There's another
The
roof
front
on the
side.
gym.
But either way, if
So
I had a
then
facility, I would
that
fix
one
the
is
roof.
5 to 7 years still that they have, you know, so that one, we're not replacing a
Understood.
pretty intact roof.
Right.
This is the whole, the main, you know, where the
dining room.
dining room and everything, all the activities go on in the.
Yeah, I just kind of, not necessarily
Yeah.
directly ruining the floor, but I just looked at the roof as a whole, sorry about that, so yeah, as a
Yeah,
whole.
no, I,
But that's fine.
Have you got the estimates for the?
yes, I don't have them with me, but I have, we contacted Alpha and Platinum, and the third one was Fry, and we looked closely. I had, Guy Foster has done a lot of rubber roofs, so I had him sit in on the, we actually had a Zoom meeting because we kept getting snowed out, so, and we finally got to meet and looked at all the materials that were gonna be presented, and Fry actually did more than the other groups, so, for the best price,
I
so.
was gonna say, were they all close?
Really close, well,
Platinum.
Platinum's a little high.
Yeah.
Well, it was $4,000, it was like $377,000, so you thought, okay.
So
That narrowed
the
it down to
two, the estimate you like the best, is it in the 250,000, is it more or less?
No, it's 250, that's what we went with, is.
That's so expensive. That whole building down there was probably built for 250,000.
I know.
Right.
It's crazy how much it, the cost went up, so.
I say that we probably can help some. But we will have to take a little time to think about this.
And hopefully we'll hear back from the other grants.
Mhm.
Yeah, just get back to us, but we'll
Okay, so
table this for right now.
when is your next meeting,
2 weeks from today.
which is?
Well, we're on a mid-month cycle, so.
February 21st.
I'll be in California.
Uh-oh.
So maybe Marcia can.
We do have Zoom, just like the,
Oh, yeah,
like the roof
I can
guys.
zoom in. That's right. Okay, well, I wanted to bring at least with you a letter that we usually put together with these grants, just so you keep you informed of how we state this in the grant, so when you make your decision, that was, we even did the letter for you, in other words. We saved you some paperwork, but actually there's 2 more there if you'll,
All right,
in the pack
thank
here.
you. Okay, yeah,
And
And so we
USD,
can
it's
send
not
it.
a loan, it's an actual grant.
It's an actual grant, yeah.
good,
Mhm.
good.
Probably there's things that you could look into some of that too. I do some different grants.
Yeah.
And the patch
Anything
job that
back
you're gonna
up?
do now, do you think will
Hope so.
buy a little time? I mean, that's
Because
the-
it's not
the
gonna
summer
be,
at least.
you know,
Yes.
until August, yeah,
Okay,
that's what we're
okay.
planning for,
Okay.
yes.
Wouldn't it be nice when the government give you these buildings, if they give them to you fixed?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to reach them because I keep, the other roof, they say is under warranty, but I can't reach anybody at the Adjutant General's office to say, do you have a copy of that warranty? You know, so, and I don't think they will. And-
That's with the post office, we had to take out multiple loans, so
Yeah.
we feel for you there.
Would that have been through
GSA probably.
GSA? That's probably who to get a hold of, is the GSA,
What's that?
Government Services.
Administration. They
And
handle all their property.
There's a guy named Todd, he works with us great. You just send him a text and he'll get right back.
Yeah, I don't have his number, I was hoping
I
you
was
did.
gonna say, do you have any contact information?
But they're the ones that do the facilities, whether they did it when that facility was part of it or not.
Right,
Um,
And it's government services?
yes.
And what was it, the guy's name?
Todd.
Todd's the guy we work with.
Todd?
I don't know what his last name is.
Okay.
I can't remember. I have it
And that'll help with the second roof, because one of the hardest things to do is get a grant for construction. And so, I mean, this is all just construction, and luckily the USDA.
there. Yeah, I don't even have his last name, just Todd.
Todd at GSA.
I'm not gonna give you his cell number.
Oh, okay. Do you have an email? I mean, because,
Well, I know we email a lot.
oh, okay.
Somewhere. We can work on that after the meeting.
Okay, that'll help.
Get that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I can always send him a message and
Okay.
get a hold of him.
Yeah, because that would be nice. I mean, that's not gonna help this roof, but it'll help in the long run.
Well, yeah,
Because if
might
it's
be
under
good.
warranty, it just leaked twice. We have no idea where the leak is.
Yeah, it's
because it just
blowing, you know.
Right, and when it
Well,
blows
yeah,
in,
all
it
that,
doesn't
all that
always-
big wind
doesn't
probably,
always not
it just
here.
popped the place up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with all the heavy rain since then, it hasn't, and I still think somebody just dumped water on the corner.
Well, just taught them how to use their iPads, so they're like.
I can get email on mine. That's good. Okay, we're charging. Yeah, we'll try to find something.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And
Thank you
we'll,
very much.
We have a motion to table it to February 21st. Understand that correctly?
Oh, first. I might have to have you, because
Or do the
we're 3 hours
following.
behind.
Well, when's the grant due? It's the end of the month, isn't it?
28.
28.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
I'm
we
gonna
have-
be in California, and it's we're 3, unless you wanna meet it, like, we're 3 hours behind in California.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Get up, Nathan.
That's right.
Sorry, you're gonna do that one.
We'll put you at the end of the meeting.
The end of the meeting.
Yeah, we might hit 10 or 11.
There you go.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we'll table it till the 21st. Appreciate the information and y'all coming in.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you. Ms. Walker, we're going to go off the honor system real quick, if you would. I'm going to ask you to please raise your right hand.
Okay.
Not Ms. Walker.
Yes, that's correct.
Huh?
You're right.
Okay. Yeah, she's correct. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that in the matter now in hearing, your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. So for the record, we do have Ms. Lori Walker appearing by phone. We have William Cipriani here in person and Roy Cunningham here in person, if you'd like to begin.
Okay. So we first heard this matter on January the 3rd, and it was recommended by the commission that there be a continuance until today's date if the parties were unable to make an agreement. On February the 1st, I received a petition to remove the administrator from attorney William Cipriani for his client Lori Walker. And I've made you a copy of that petition. It should be right back.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Cipriani, if you'd like to begin, or if you'd like for Mrs. Walker to begin.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to make a brief statement to explain, if it's not abundantly clear to the commission of how we got here. And because in the filing that was filed yesterday that I received at 5 o'clock last night when I was checking in my hotel room, my client was accused of making a campaign of misrepresentation according to what they filed. In fact, my client has just been on a campaign to find information, is what she's been doing. So I think it's important to understand how we got here. I was first contacted back in June of last year to represent Ms. Walker because she had received information from Morgan Stanley, which company held a significant amount of funds of Mr. Pamela in a trust that perhaps Joseph C. Pamela was misusing those funds, and that she should get a lawyer. So I immediately wrote, not immediately, after consultation, I wrote to Joseph C. Pamela, who was the administrator here and also the trustee of that trust, asking for information. Sometime later, I got a letter from attorney Daniel Armstrong, who said he would provide that information. I telephoned, had a telephone conversation with Mr. Armstrong on June 30th, and I remember the conversation was exactly on that day very well because it was my son's birthday. I was having breakfast with my son, and Mr. Armstrong called me while I was eating breakfast. So we had, at that time, talked about making my client, Lori Walker, and Joseph C. Pamela co-administrators of the estate. Then it was crickets from Mr. Armstrong. I wasn't returning calls and wasn't responding to communication. So I began the process of trying to get my client qualified as the administrator through, I think, you must be Brandy, and I had several phone conversations and emails with Brandy. In the interim, Mr. Pamela got qualified as the administrator and filed a small estate affidavit. My client filed an objection to that in, I think that was July 27th. We filed an objection to that small state affidavit and attached a number of documents, checks that she thought her father, Joseph A. Pamela, had 2 checking accounts, and she didn't have any information on that. So in response to that, this commission required Mr. Pamela to file an appraisement. At that time, Mr. Pamela he subsequently filed an appraisement and listed $300 of personal property as the only estate asset. And then on the non-probate form, which I understand this commission has no authority over non-probate matters, but this issue goes to Mr. Pamila's trustworthiness and qualification. He listed this trust asset as having a value of $130,000 on that first non-probate filing. Because I was, however, that at the time of death, we had learned that that trust had $197,000, not $130,000. So subsequently, we continued attempted to continue communication with Mr. Armstrong, but it was not going very well. We eventually filed a lawsuit in the circuit court, which is pending in the circuit court of Nicholas County, regarding that trust. So after that, so in that litigation, so we did some discovery in that litigation, and let me back up. Mr. Armstrong said that there had been estate debts payable out of that trust money. The month before the decedent died, there was about $257,000 in that trust. At the end of the month, there was $197,000. And at the time when Mr. Pamela filed the first appraisement, there was $130,000. And Mr. Armstrong said, well, we've been paying debts to the estate. And I got to thinking, well, the estate had that much in debts. Well, he must have owned something, or what was he buying, or what was he spending the money on, or how did he incur these debts? So then, I filed for a reference to a fiduciary commissioner. I didn't immediately file a petition for removal. I didn't fly off half-cocked. I've been doing this for 40 years. I know that there are misunderstandings and so forth. So we were here last month, and at that time, Mr. Armstrong was no longer employed by the estate, and Mr. Cunningham appeared. And since that, so then, again, through discovery filed in that trust case, we got some other information where Mr. Pamela had bought a Kubota tractor for $16,000. So where's the tractor? I called Mr. Cunningham, and he provided this additional information yesterday regarding the tractor. I also received a number of checks where Mr. Pamela, and understand this because we have this trust issue, which this commission doesn't have authority over, but we've got the estate. But turns out Mr. Pamela, the administrator, was reimbursing himself a lot of that, all that money, most of it, all except for $11,000, which was apparently paid to Mr. Armstrong to defend Pamela. All the rest of the money went to Joseph Pamela, the trustee, for reimbursement for things that he allegedly bought for his father. One of which was the Kubota, which he's claiming his father only owned a half interest in, and also he paid himself $13,795 for repaying himself for a loan that he made to his dad, apparently, to buy stuff from Lowe's. Well, if his dad bought $13,795 worth of stuff from Lowe's, he ought to have something to show for it. I don't know where that stuff is. He made other reimbursements to himself, $11,000 for a studio building, which he said his father bought. I don't know anything about the studio building. $476 for a skid steer. I don't know anything about a skid steer. $1,600 for a Sam's Club So if Dad incurred all these debts and the son said he loaned him the money for him, where's the stuff? The other really, unusual thing about this is this bank account, which in this filing that Mr. Cunningham made yesterday, which we thought was the father's account, or at least he was a co-owner of that account because his signature appears on checks. The son makes a filing yesterday that says, that's my dad's account. Well, if we look through all these documents, and I know you're not going to have time this morning, but I've got scads of them, a lot of those documents, including the Kubota tractor documents, just say Joseph Pamela. So we don't know if it's Joseph A. or Joseph C. And the stuff that they filed, they've redacted the Social Security number, so we don't know who it belongs to. And until we see those original documents, we're not going to know without the redactions.
The reimbursements you spoke of, like the Lowe's purchases and things like that, those were dated before or after the death?
Well, the reimbursements are after the death, but according to the filings that he made in the lawsuit, he said, I took money from Dad's trust to reimburse me for things that I bought for my dad.
While he was still alive?
While he's still alive.
Yes.
It's like, well, okay, then where's the stuff that you loaned your money for where is it? Because now you've been paid for it, so technically it's owned by your father. So, while at this, and here's the other thing, on that Kubota tractor, and it's in those documents that were filed, this loan there's a loan application that was just, I'm pretty sure is in those, I just got a copy of it today, but I had a copy earlier. There's a loan application in there where Dad indicated that his monthly income was $6,900 a month. Now, let's work through this thing. Okay, now, Dad was a retired railroad worker. If you all know about railroad workers, they have pretty good pension packages. I don't know if that $6,900 a month income was just retirement. I don't know if retirement was 69 or 29. But the fact of the matter is, he's got this railroad retirement. It's going into the bank account that just says Joseph Pamela, and Mr. Pamela is saying, well, that's mine. That's my bank account. So it's just, you know, to paraphrase Donald Rumsfeld, I don't know if you remember when he was the Secretary of Defense, he had a much longer version of this saying, but in essence, we don't know what we don't know. And because it's been a drip of information for 7 months, this started in June of last year. It's been a drip of information. Now, originally Dad didn't have any personal property except a big stack of things which he filed pictures of trinkets, old watches, and things like that didn't have any value. And now it's like, well, yeah, maybe Dad did have a Kubota tractor, So if my client was just appointed as a co-administrator, we didn't even have, at least then she would have access to this information so she could see for herself what there is and what there isn't. And we could short circuit this process potentially. Again, we don't want this case to become Jarndyce and Jarndyce, which if any of you read Charles Dickens, that was the case where the case went on so long, the only people who got money were the lawyers. And so we don't want that to happen. And I think a way to short circuit it is to just make her a co-administrator. We don't even have to remove him. But I think, based on the history and the drip of information, which may have been his fault, may have been his lawyer's fault, it's a combination of two, but there's something about this business. You pick your lawyer at your peril, and if you pick a bad lawyer and he messes things up, and you pay him $11,000, then that's your problem. That's not the commission's problem, that's not my problem, it's not my client's problem. I don't have any other comments. I would like to take some testimony from my client. thought you don't have any questions?
You can proceed.
Okay.
Ms. Walker.
Lori, I'm going to ask you questions. Can you hear me?
It's hard. You are skipping in and out, but I'm trying to make it out the best I can hearing you.
Okay, well, we can hear you fine.
Okay, good.
So initially, Lori, do you recall back in July of last year, when Joseph, your brother, filed the first small estate affidavit, we filed an objection to that and asked that a full appraisement be done. Do you recall that?
I do.
Okay. And we attached some checks to that that you thought were checks that were written out of your father's account. Do you have that objection and those checks in front of you?
I do.
All right. So.
May I have copies of the checks if you want to ask her about them?
Yeah. Well, let me give you one to speak. Okay, Lori, so that you have the objection and the checks. There were 8 checks attached to that, or 9 checks actually. Do you see that? Is that what you have?
I'm sorry? The checks?
Do you have 9 checks?
I have, let's see, 1, 2.
There's exhibit numbers on the bottom. Do you have those exhibit numbers?
Oh. I'm looking at the original.
All right, so let's do it this way. Rather, what I want you, can you see the check that says Joseph Famila Special Account? It's dated 12/20/21. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, it's made out to Lori and Todd Walker.
That's me and my husband, yes.
Okay.
For $100.
Okay. Can you tell from that check who signed that check? First of all, you're familiar. Are you familiar with their father's signature, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And you also worked in banking, and didn't you work in a department where you verified documents? Didn't you do something like that?
Yes, I worked for National Westminster Bank and I was a signature analyst.
So that signature on that check, number 5012, and just for the record, I know that check is Exhibit 1 to the objection of Lori Walker to the small estate affidavit. That check made out to you and your husband. Whose signature is on that check?
My father,
Okay.
Mr. Joseph Camilla.
All right. Now I want you to look. Do you see the check number 5013 dated 12/20/21 made out to Mr. Tom Walker?
Yes,
Can you tell whose signature that is on that check?
that's also my father's.
Now, do you see check number 5022? And for the record, that's Exhibit 3 to the objection. It's dated April 13th of 22, made out to Thomas Walker. Do you see that check?
I do.
And whose signature is on that check?
That looks like not my father's signature.
Okay.
That is not my father's signature.
All right. So let's look at check 5029.
Okay.
It's dated 7/15/22. Do you see that?
I do.
It's made out to you, correct?
Yes.
And it looks like it says bath faucet on there.
Yes.
Whose signature is that?
That's not my father's.
Let's look at check 1018 that was written out of an account that was a Morgan Stanley account.
Right.
Do you see that check?
I do.
And it's made out to Thomas Walker?
Yes, that's my son.
Okay. Whose signature's on that check?
That's not my father's signature.
Now there's another check 1026. It looks like it's written out of the same Morgan Stanley account.
Yes.
Whose signature is that?
That's to Lori and Todd Walker. That's my father's signature.
Okay. So for the record, that's Exhibit 6. And that's your father's signature, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's look at check number 1028. looks like it's written out of the same Morgan Stanley account. Do you see that check? It's dated 12/18, and I can't tell if that's 2020.
Yeah,
Who's that check made out to?
that's made out to Tommy Walker, that's my son, and my father signed it.
Let's take a look at check number 1031 out of the Morgan Stanley account. Do you see that check?
Yes, I do. That's made to Thomas Walker, my son.
And who signed that check?
That's not my father's signature.
Now, Lori, what was the communication that you received from Morgan Stanley that prompted you to want to seek legal counsel?
My conversation with Nancy Spidell was, Lori, I advise you to get a lawyer as soon as possible because your brother's doing things he should not be doing.
And that's when you sought out an attorney and you retained my services. Is that correct, Shorty?
That's correct. That is correct.
Now, do you have a copy of the petition to remove administrator that we filed that was mailed on January 30th, 2024? Do you have that?
I'm sure I do. Yeah, I have everything that you sent me, yes.
Okay.
Where on this file is it that the bank stated roughly, and I'm sorry I don't have it verbatim, that Mr. Camellia was doing ill-advised things and to get a lawyer? Because I see the emails where we cannot provide you information because you're not listed on the account, but that's all I have before me.
Yeah. Lori, was that, when Nancy Spidell from Morgan Stanley contacted you, was that just orally? Did she ever give you anything in writing indicating that there was impropriety on that account?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the first part of that.
The communication that you received from Morgan Stanley, was that just oral, verbal communication, or was there any written communication?
It was only verbal. She said she couldn't give me anything because I wasn't the trustee on the account.
Okay.
She said she wishes she could tell me something, but she couldn't. But she just stressed the fact that I needed to do something ASAP.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Have you located the petition to remove administrator that we filed?
When was this sent? This was just...
I just, if you check, I just emailed it to you a couple days ago, Lori. It had exhibits
Okay.
attached. It had the Kubota tractor.
Yes.
Do you have that?
And the golf cart, right?
Yeah, it had pictures of the golf cart and the Kubota tractor.
Yes,
Okay. Do you have that in front of you?
I do.
Don't want to mess up this file.
Okay, so on that Kubota tractor, it's attached as Exhibit A to the petition. It just says Joseph Pamela. Do you see that?
Let me see.
It's the first page of Exhibit A.
Okay, let me just open up my email again. Okay, Exhibit A. Let's see. Sorry, there's just so many pages.
Well, let's just...
Okay, I have it.
You have it?
Exhibit
Okay.
A.
Okay, Exhibit A. And it just says Joseph Pamela, 100 Freedom Lane.
Yes.
Okay. Doesn't designate Joseph A. or Joseph C.
Did they both live at the same address?
Lori, can you answer that question? Did they both have the same address?
Well, Joseph lived in the house, and my father lived in the holler in a trailer. So I don't know if it was two different addresses. All I know is that everything went to Joseph's house.
Okay.
Nothing went to the trailer.
Is that?
That's accurate.
Okay, thank you.
That went to the, I don't know where people live.
main
I know
residence
The
or-
mailing address was 100 Freedom Lane is
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Yes.
Lori, turn to the third page of that Exhibit A. And do you see it's a consumer credit application with Kubota?
Yes, I do.
And down there, Part 3, employer information, it says it's looks like your dad, or your dad checked that he was retired,
Yes,
and monthly income of $6,900 a month.
yes, that's what I see.
Do you have any idea what your dad's railroad pension was?
What was that?
I'm sorry, I was talking into my bottled water. I thought it was a microphone. Do you have any information on what your dad's railroad retirement was?
I don't. I was never privy to any of my father's documents or anything that, I was just always kept in the dark. No statements, no documents, nothing was ever shared with me.
Okay.
So I don't know what that $6,900 consists of.
But it's not out, is it out of the realm of possibility with your knowledge of your dad's investments and his financial
No.
acumen that he would have had?
No. Definitely not. My father invested wisely. He had a lot of money, and I worked for the railroads for 30 years. I'm sure he had a very nice pension.
Okay, so on here, there's a place for a middle initial, but there is none, correct?
That's correct.
Um,
And also, I'd like to bring attention to the date of birth, which is my dad's, the social security number on this document, which is my father's. The email address is Roseanne, and the cell phone number is Joseph. So all this information is all over the place. So,
Who's Roseanne?
Is Michael
Roseanne is
wife, I
Joseph's
believe,
girlfriend.
or wife, whichever.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if they're married. I never knew they got married.
Lori, just respond to the questions you're being asked. Okay?
Sorry.
Okay, now, I don't see anywhere on this application where more than one Joseph applied for a loan or the purchase of a Kubota tractor. I don't see anything, do you?
I do not.
Okay, and then last night, when I received at about 4:50 p.m., the amended appraisement that your brother's lawyers filed for you, he finally, after months and months, has acknowledged at least your dad had a 1/2 ownership in this Kubota tractor. You saw that, right?
I do see that, but I have questions regarding that as well.
All right, so Exhibit B to that petition is a golf cart. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. But let me,
Allow me to step back, if you would, concerning the Exhibit A. We'll say it's page number 4, the yellow page, the purchase order.
Okay.
Does Ms. Walker have that in front of her? Or
Lori,
can she?
Lori, can you look at the purchase order itself as part of Exhibit A?
The purchase order.
Yeah, so it would be the,
It says case in the left corner.
Yeah, it's Case State Equipment, Inc. purchase order.
From the Kubota? The purchase order
For
from
the Kubota, yes.
Let me see.
are your documents in color? Because it's a yellow document.
Yes.
Let's see. Exhibit A. This document looks like it's gray and it has a description trade-in. Did he trade? Is this the document I need to be looking at?
I don't think so. It's, well, it could be gray if it didn't photocopy in color, if it didn't get scanned in color. The document says purchase order, and in the left-hand corner it says case in big bold letters, C-A-S-E.
Okay, let me look for that.
It comes out as white.
Oh, actually, it comes out as white on the scan, on the,
Garrett's.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it literally says purchase order in top center.
Okay, I'm looking through everything. Hold on, please. I have so many pages here. I'm sorry I'm taking so long. I don't know if I have it here. I'm looking through all, I downloaded everything.
It's part of that, it's attached, or it's part of that Kubota stuff that you were just looking at. The loan application.
It should be the one before the picture.
Yeah, it's right before the picture.
There you go.
Okay.
It's right before the picture of the Kubota.
See, I don't think I opened that. So you have sent me the, okay, let's see. Oh, retail installment contract. There we go. Kubota. I have Kubota Credit Corporation. Then
Okay, go to the next page.
Okay, Kubota retail installment contract, consumer use only.
Next page.
Next
after
page.
The next page. Okay, consumer credit application. Okay.
that. No, it says purchase order.
Go to the next page.
The next page.
Should say purchase order right below it, State Equipment, Inc.
Sorry.
Okay, yes.
The bottom right corner, Miss Walker, would you say that that would be your father's signature or your brother's?
Let's see. I would say that's my father's signature.
Okay. And from personal experience of buying Kubotas, to my understanding, this is only a one-page document because I've actually seen this before. So if there would be another signature, it should have been on this page. Okay, that's all the questions I have. I'd like to continue.
All right. Lori, so that same document, looking down, the next page should be Exhibit B, and it's a picture of a golf cart. You see you've seen that, right?
The receipt for the golf cart?
No, I'm not asking you about the receipt. I'm just asking about the golf cart itself. First.
Okay.
All right. You had been to your father's property, correct?
Yes,
How many times were you there?
twice.
And did he use that golf cart?
Yes.
What did he use it for?
He used it to take the garbage from his trailer to the street, and he also used it to get from his trailer to Joseph's house.
Okay. So your father was how old at the time? If you can remember.
He was 80, 75. It's hard for me to, I would have to, figure it out. I'm not sure how old he was, but.
Okay. All right. But he used it for transportation around the property because it was a big piece of property, correct?
Yes.
Lori, in the original objection I think we filed, you had alluded to your father having a coin collection.
Yes.
Could you explain what that was, or what was your understanding of that, and how did you know about it?
Well, my dad used to talk to me about it. He would invest by buying gold coins.
And what?
He didn't trust the banks fully. That's just what he would say to me because of the economy and everything else. He would tell me that, invest in gold. That's what I do. I invest in gold. And it was just a known fact in the family that my father always bought gold coins and silver coins. That's just what he did to protect his assets, his money. So right as COVID hit, he was all nervous because they were trying to go to the bank and get money out, and they couldn't when they lived in California. So my dad told me that he went, or he didn't even say he went. All he said to me was that he purchased gold and uncirculated money.
Okay. And that was sort of a hedge against the banks going under or not having access to the cash in the bank.
Right.
Lori, in
And, yeah.
in the documents filed by your brother yesterday, he said that you had a hostile attitude toward him. Have you been hostile towards your brother?
I haven't spoken to my brother.
For how long?
I'm trying to think now.
Have you spoken to him since your dad died?
I spoke to my dad died 2 weeks later, my brother died. So then my brother died in October, November, December, January. I would say it's been almost a year since I've spoken to Joseph.
Okay, so shortly after your father died, your brother Michael passed away, correct?
Yes, yes.
And your brother has alleged in these documents that he filed yesterday that you have a hostile attitude towards him. Do you deny that, or do you admit you have a hostile attitude toward him?
I deny that 110%.
Okay. And he's also said that you're not fit to be an administrator because of a lawsuit pending about your brother's estate in New York. Did you read that?
That shouldn't pertain to
Well,
this.
Lori, answer my question. Did you read that? Did you read that?
Yes, yes I did.
Okay.
Yes I did.
Who actually filed that lawsuit? You or your brother?
My brother.
Joseph filed that against you, right?
Me and my son.
Me and your son. And he's
The
claiming.
18-year-old son.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions.
This third brother, this is the first time hearing of this. Michael?
Michael.
He passed
He
away.
passed away.
There's a proceeding in New York
Yes.
regarding that.
Okay.
The two of them are co-administrators on that proceeding. The proceeding in
Now, what concerning Joseph Anthony Pamilia, the father that passed away, is he not a heir to this estate also?
the one in New York.
No, this one here that we're,
The one
The father.
here, the father's.
or is it only
Oh, father died.
Joseph C. and Lori Walker?
Yeah, just Lori, because Joseph A. Pamela died before Michael. So.
Right.
If
So
he died
he's-
before Michael, then he.
Did he have a will?
The guy in New York?
Joseph Anthony Pamilia?
We thought he did, but none's been produced.
Okay, I understand.
That was one of our allegations. She thought he had a will.
I understand.
And with his $500,000 in assets, at least, we thought he would have a will too.
So just to clarify, Anthony A. or not Anthony, good lord, Joseph A. Pamillo died first, and then
Yes.
Michael died next.
Okay.
Then Michael's estate would be a party to this, would it not? Or whoever, unless he had issue. If he had no issue, then it would go back to the two brothers and sisters.
He had no issue. Michael
Right.
died with no wife and no children, and that's why, so they are
Okay.
beneficiaries of his
That,
estate.
thank you, that's what I was,
That
yes,
works.
yes, I understand. Legal counsel Tucker, do you have anything to add? I know it's hard over Zoom, I wanna make sure I give you a chance.
Do I get to answer questions?
Oh, yes, Mr. Tucker, we'll wait, I apologize.
Oh, sure.
Thank you, thank
Don't
you.
mean to interrupt.
No, yes, thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Walker. How are you?
Good morning. I'm okay. How are you?
Pretty good. I just want to go through some of these checks again, and maybe I have some interesting questions. I'll be very brief. Relative to the check that was written, it's check number 5012. It was written on 12/20/21 to Lori and Todd Walker in the amount of $100. And you said your father signed that check?
Let me just pull it up in front of me again.
Oh, sure.
Hold on
Go
one
ahead.
second.
This is exhibit one.
It's exhibit 1, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, the $100 check,
Yeah.
that was written by my dad.
Do you recall what that check was for?
Christmas.
Christmas. Okay. Okay. Check, there's another check, exhibit 2 on 12/20/21 to Tom Walker for $40. And you said that was signed by your father, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall what that was for?
Christmas. That was a Christmas gift.
Oh, okay. And then there's another check, and it's the one out of the Joseph Camilla special account, it's 5022, and it was written on, it looks like 4/19/22 to Thomas Walker for $40. What was that check?
That's for Thomas's birthday. His birthday is April 21st. That was a birthday present.
Okay. And then there was a check to you on July 15th of 2022. It's exhibit number 4. I'm sorry, Commissioners, I'll refer to them as exhibits as well, so you know where I'm going. For $560. What was that? And you said that that was not your father that signed that check, correct?
That's correct. We had an event where my bathroom kind of fell through my living room ceiling, and I needed a plumber, and unfortunately we did not have the money. So Joseph, at the time we were speaking, and he said, "Don't worry about it, I'll get Daddy to give you the money for it." So that's what that check was for. Joseph sent me that check.
And you said that
to get the plumber.
And you said that Joseph signed it, correct?
Yes.
You recognize
And he said that money came from my dad, though.
Okay. Did
And he signed it as Joseph A.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
Joseph A. So
Okay.
yes. Did your father signed the check? But is that your father's writing and filling out the check, or is that your brother's? Or
That's not my father's signature or handwriting.
Okay. So going back to the check before that, I'm skipping around a bit. Exhibit 3. It's check 522. The actual part of the check that was filled out, was that filled out by, is that your brother's handwriting or your father's?
522? That looks like my brother's. It doesn't look like my father's handwriting.
Okay. And then the check before that, the check, Exhibit 2, which is check 5013, the part of the check that was filled out, was that your brother's or father's handwriting?
If I could just go back to 5022.
Okay, go back to
It
50.
almost, yeah, so it's kind of hard with this one because the pay to Thomas Walker signature, it almost looks like my father's signature, but it almost looks like Joseph tried to make the signature look like my father's signature, so this one's a little tough to determine, but, just looking at the other checks, it looks like my father would sign with Mr. in front,
Okay. Then the check on, going back to Exhibit 2, the check to Mr. Thomas Walker, is that your father's handwriting or your brother's handwriting on the top part of the check?
And what check number was that?
It's 5013.
That's my dad.
Okay, so he completed the whole thing then, okay.
Yes.
And then looking at check number 18, or 1018, it's Exhibit 5. You said that that's not your father's signature. Who's the handwriting on the
That's Joseph's handwriting.
Okay. So that's Joseph's, but then the handwriting on Exhibit 4 is Joseph's also?
What check number is that?
5029.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
You can see the R's on Walker. The R is very similar.
Okay. And then you've got a check that is from Morgan Stanley. I'm looking at Exhibit 6. Your check to Morgan Stanley for it's $150 to Tom and...
It's to Lori and Todd, me and my husband.
Oh, Lori and Todd. I'm sorry. I couldn't.
That's okay.
On the top part of the check, who's the handwriting? Is that your father or is that your brother?
That's my father.
Okay. And then the signature is your father's as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, going to Exhibit 7, which is check 1022.
1022?
Yeah.
1022.
Exhibit 7 says 1028.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1022. Thank you. It's 1022.
Check number 1022?
It's 1028. I don't know why I have 22 in my mind.
Okay, 1028. Yes, I have it.
1028
Yes.
for $50. Who completed the top portion of that check? Does that look like your brother's handwriting or your father's?
My father?
Okay, and then the signature is also your father's.
Yes.
And what was that check for?
Probably Christmas.
No.
It's around the same time, December 18th.
Okay, Christmas, I see. Okay, and then
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, Luke.
These are all checks from the lifetime of the deceased. Why are we even going through this? I mean, if these are matters that are related to the circuit court, the commission has no jurisdiction over that. I don't understand the whole process of going, figuring out who wrote these checks or what they were written for and how much they were written for, if they were all done during the lifetime of the deceased.
Is that Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker, this is Bill
And
Simpson.
you gotta speak to the
You can
mic.
see.
You gotta speak towards the mic,
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yes.
Mr. Tucker, I originally went over them because we were claiming that there were bank accounts that that the deceased had, and that the checks were our only evidence at the time of the bank accounts. What they were written for, or the amounts, is not material. Just the fact that the decedent signed the checks is what's material. And I hope, does that make it clear to you? I don't.
Well, it does, but are these checks that came out of have been come out of the trust or?
No. No, they were not. Morgan Stanley has the trust, but there was, actually, I don't know which Morgan Stanley this came out of, because there were a bunch, but there were actually checks written from a First Community Bank in Birch River, West Virginia. Those are.
Somersville.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay.
Right, that's his address, yes.
So we do have checks attached that were written from the community bank.
So the issue today is removal of the administrator, and not necessarily what these checks were written for. Does the other side object to having his client appointed as co-administrator?
We do.
I mean, you have three options. You can not appoint her, or remove the executive and appoint the sheriff. And I mean, I don't know why we're going down this rabbit hole.
I made that proposal prior to the hearing. It was rejected, the co-administrator. That was rejected. And Mr. Pamela is not here.
I mean, frankly, I either appoint him as co-administrators or remove him and appoint the sheriff. It really just seems like the most logical option to me for the commission to take.
What was the purpose for Mr. Pameli's absence?
I didn't know we were going to be doing evidentiary things, and we had submitted a full response to this matter. So we felt that we had briefed this thing adequately to where there was no testimony. Given the fact that everything we submitted were documentary evidence, there was not really a reason for him to be here for this.
Understood.
I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to have these things filed right before the hearing too, where the commission does not have time to consider this. I mean, we have discussed this approximately a month ago.
So is this just going to be something that's going to go back and forth forever, and you're never going to settle this?
That's not my intention. That is
I'm asking,
absolutely.
is your intention? Is it going to be that?
Our intention,
Because you're back and forth here all morning, and you're back and forth on checks, and you're back and forth. I know, we're not a judge. We're not going to sit here and listen to your whole hearing.
I'm done asking.
My question to you is there any way you're going to settle this, or do we need to take action?
I think probably, and this is, if you don't mind, Mr. Sickright, the thing at this point is we've been involved in this thing for like less than a month. I mean, we had another attorney involved. I'm not going to comment on his competency, whatever, because I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is, he didn't provide a lot of things. There was a lot of just simply things that were left laid aside. We've been, I don't know if this is a fair comment. You can comment one way or the other. I think we've been fairly responsive in terms of getting discovery, in terms of giving you documents, in terms of whatever relative to that. We also are prepared, we haven't filed it yet, but we prepared an amended appraisement and a non-probate appraisement. My understanding is a non-probate appraisement was never filed. I think relative to the trust case, I think where we're gonna end up, and I think you agree with this as well, is we're gonna end up in mediation. Because we can do fact witnesses and do stuff all day, and there's just not enough money to fight over here. There just isn't. And so I think that's where we are, if you wanna weigh in.
Well, I think Mr. Tucker's suggestion, and my offer to you prior to today's hearing, that she be made a co-administrator, will give her access to bank accounts, so that she could go look at original documents, communicate directly with banks. That's the problem. And if it wasn't for the, you know, again, my client's been accused of being hostile and making mischaracterizations. They're the ones that have filed an amended appraisement that indicates there was actually some personal property that previously weren't listed, and that there was actually, at the time of death, $197,000 in a trust that when he filed the initial appraisement, they said was $130,000. So, you know, my client has no way of getting complete access without doing this back and forth. And to answer your question, we'd rather not. I don't want to do that.
While my client objects to her doing that, I believe the county commission has full authority to make her a co-administrator over my client's objections.
Did he have a purpose other than just the
They just are hostile.
accusation of hostile?
They don't get back and they just simply don't get along. And it's just been, yeah. So, yeah, there's that. I mean,
Well, perhaps, and I know we're, go ahead, legal counsel.
My experience with co-administrators, especially those who are adverse to each other in a circuit court action, just doesn't work, and we're going to be back before the commission again. My suggestion is they agree on a third-party administrator or the sheriff.
Do you have a third party?
I don't have one in mind, but perhaps we could take some time and figure that out.
That's worth a shot.
I'll give you 2
Probably.
weeks.
2 weeks is fine.
Be back in 2 weeks. Yes.
I agree.
Good with you?
Let's talk in the hallway.
Legal counsel Tucker, do you have any response to that proposal?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Hold on just a second. Greg, Brandy would like to say something.
Mr. Tucker, I'm not for sure exactly my authority as deputy clerk in any of this matter. I would just like to say that I was contacted by Mr. Cunningham's office. I did let them know that there was a 602, and you and I had a conversation pertaining to the code.
What's a 602?
That is the non-probate inventory.
Okay, thank you.
That, as to code, I am not able to release that. The only person I'm able to release that to would be the administrator, or I let them know that the administrator could sign a release and that I would release it to Mr. Cunningham's office. I also have concern that this new amended appraisal is the third appraisal that has been filed in this matter, and that each time I get a new appraisal, there are new personal property or new accounts added. And I'm not sure why there's new things added each time that weren't before.
I can speak to why there's new things added, because I don't think the other attorney just simply wasn't being very thorough with this thing. And I don't know what his experience in this area of law is. I mean, I don't mean to throw him under the bus, but it is what it is.
That was Mr. Armstrong.
That's Mr. Armstrong, yeah.
That's why I was asking perhaps maybe if we could just turn this over to the sheriff.
And my thought would be perhaps more efficient, given where we are, to have a third party that he and I can agree on. Further, I'm uncertain as to why the county commission wouldn't allow one of the lawyers representing one of the parties to have the non-probate appraisement.
It's code.
Oh, is it code?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
go get the code if you like.
Confidential.
I'll go get
Oh,
it.
that's fair enough. I mean, I was just asking.
I'll give you a copy.
I mean, I frankly don't see that these two parties will go get along as far. I mean, I think council can. I don't think the parties can.
Correct.
So co-administrators, the more I listen, the less I think that's going to work.
Just out of fairness, Greg, I'll give you 2 weeks. Come in here with somebody, or we're gonna have somebody.
Fair enough. Can you, what's 2 weeks? Do we have a date?
Be January 21st, and February 21st, I got excited.
Next meeting.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks, yeah. And we can set the time as soon as we recess here, to just make sure.
And that's something that you both can agree to, that you'll go back to your
Yes.
clients and
We'll go back
records.
to
Yeah, and perhaps we keep you two in the middle to
Right.
communicate a buffer, to see if we can bring a resolution to this before we have to consider something like the sheriff or something like that.
I'll definitely communicate that.
Essentially, can we not, I mean, advise the parties it would be the sheriff? I mean.
That's what I want to
That's
do.
what I'm gonna tell my
Yes.
guys, either we're gonna pick somebody or.
Or
the-
we will.
Or you will.
Right.
That's
And
fair.
if we hear nothing between now and then, just enter an order, I'll have an order prepared and we can appoint the sheriff.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, yes. Thank you all for your time.
Good luck.
We hope everything works out.
Greg, that would be an agreed upon response, right? Not just a response from one side.
We will have, we will have it agreed upon.
Yes.
We will both either, what will happen, and I can send Mr. Tucker a letter saying this is who we agreed upon,
Okay.
and then Mr. Cipriani can send a letter concurring to that agreement, or we don't want to agree unless have the sheriff.
Right.
That's fine.
So I don't know that we need to set it the next meeting. If I don't get the letter saying that, I'll have an order prepared and ready for you guys to enter, next meeting in 2 weeks to appoint the sheriff. I mean, I don't know that it's necessary. I know these parties are essentially bringing 2 lawyers in costs the state more money. So if we can avoid that, and I know, we know where we're headed, I can have the paperwork ready for it.
Maybe
Well,
perhaps
clear
a,
The best way to clear that up is if you don't have a name to us in 2 weeks, the sheriff will be appointed.
yeah.
Right.
Let's just.
We
make
need
it
a,
clear.
we need a response by February 15th, because that is when we'll have to set our agenda if we need to consider one way or the other.
Is that good with you?
So, and that's the day that we set our agenda, is the purpose of the 15th. By 4 p.m. to the county commission and county clerk.
And if Randy wouldn't care to get with me when I'm back in the office, we can, I'll have the order ready either way. It's just, if we don't need it, we don't need it. But if she'll get with me, we'll do that.
I'll do that.
Okay. And she heard you on that, so. Okay, well, again, thank you all for your time. Hope you appreciate it, guys. Very good. Okay, we apologize for running late. Important doing the people's business here, but anyways, we have Director Johnny Rutherford.
Sir.
Okay, of Metro 911, Dean Meadows, West Virginia E911 Executive Director, the West Virginia E911 Executive Director, and Russell Emmert.
Yes.
And you are also from Metro 911.
Correct.
Very good. And this is concerning a discussion on potential removal of 911 employees out of PERS, which is a retirement program, into the EMSRS retirement program.
Correct.
So, appreciate you all coming here this morning. We also have Director John McGinnis here with us, who is of course over the dispatchers, and you all may have the floor.
Okay. Well, I'll turn the floor to Johnny Russell here, but just to let you know why we're here, the purpose of it is, in 2022, the 2023, the legislature passed a bill saying all new employees hired by 911 centers go into this EMSRS program. This year we have Senate Bill 439 that's going through that is going to put existing employees into the program. But what we're hoping that we can get the Nicholas County Commission to do is sign the resolution that puts the new employees in. Once that's in place, it makes it easier to work with the legislature on getting
Existing employees.
Yes, no, the new employees first sign the resolution for the new employees to go in, and then that will give us the fodder we need to show the legislature that, hey, our counties are interested in this. They're a part of this. They want to bring all existing employees in the same. So we've been working on this for 7 years now, trying to get this legislation done. We're we've got the retirement board they're on board with us, as well as the legislature. So I'll let Russell and Johnny give some explanation on where we're at with it, and if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. Okay?
Can I approach?
Absolutely, yes.
Go ahead and give you guys a little bit more information.
This is a packet each.
Yeah. I went ahead and put the map on top just so you can see. This is pretty widely adopted already. We're at 85% by population. And this is for the new enrollment. So the only difference in cost to the 911 center, and I don't believe this would be any pass along to the county, is it goes from a 9% employer match to a 9.5% employer match. So it's about $500 per 100,000 of payroll. It's very minimal.
And we currently at 9.
Do
do you want a copy of this?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
So, yes, so the House, the original House bill, and I don't have the number in front of me, do you, 40, I want to say, well, I won't mess it up.
The one that passed
But,
last year.
yeah, the one that's passed 2 years ago allows your new telecommunicators to join. There is a bill that passed the Senate this year and is currently in front of the House to allow your existing employees the option, but you will have the chance to visit that. If and when it passes, you'll be able to either accept that or opt out of that, so that you can make the decision now or later on that one. The bill hasn't even passed. But this one would only be your new employees. And there's more information in your packet, but basically it brings, the legislature also passed in, I want to say, 2021, the recognizing 911 employees as first responders. And then this retirement bill followed it to make it kind of a level playing field with your police, fire, EMS, law enforcement, 911, all of that being all of them have access to a retirement system that doesn't keep them in there quite as long as PERS 2. So I don't know if anyone recognizes this yet, but I'm sure you guys do, but a lot of the new employees we found don't, is that PERS 2 would have them work for up to 44 years. And we've never had a 911 telecommunicator last that long. I mean, in Kanawha County, we've had like 3 that have made it to 55. None of them are making it to 64 without having to go somewhere else. Any questions? I don't want to talk a lot about stuff you already know, but I'd be happy to answer anything you're specifically interested in.
So I understand the additional amount, the lesser restriction on combined age and years of service. Are there any restrictions that you guys are aware of? Anything you're losing by going over something like this?
I mean, the biggest thing, and we try to caution people, like, don't think of just what's coming out of your paycheck right now. Their paycheck contribution does go up. So, and that's not an employer cost, that's a direct employee cost. But
it's going directly into their account.
Yeah.
Right. So,
right.
Yeah.
So they do
It is a
have to,
bad thing.
the bad thing is they'll pay it a little bit more. But we've asked them
For
to
savings,
think about,
right.
exactly.
Yes.
Ask anyone with a military pension or a police pension or a fire pension, anything, ask them if they would go back and save 2 or 3% and work an extra 10 to 20 years, and they would absolutely not.
Right.
So we're hoping they recognize that. As far as other restrictions, we're talking about new employees right now, so there's really nothing other than it would be a slight higher cost. If the existing employees are given the option to vote in, like the bill's written very well so that they lose nothing, the vesting stays the same, their contribution stays the same, they can buy back if they want to, but they don't have to, so they can go in at 0 cost. There's a lot of good things for new or existing.
Now, is this optional, or should we approve this? They're going straight into EMSRS.
Yeah, if you were to approve this, all 911 employees that are new, it would be mandatory for them to be in the new system.
You have an opinion on that?
I'm fine with it.
In other words, that would be somebody that you hired from today on.
And they wouldn't know any difference, so.
And if I can add real quick, if you don't mind, sir.
Yes.
Just a little historical value, and I'm sure you recognize this already. I was with the sheriff's office when this retirement system went in place, like this in the sheriff's office. It changed the professionalism of the department so much because it wasn't in the door, out the door. The training was better. People were there longer. If you have a loved one that needs CPR, you want a 7, 8 year employee giving CPR instructions to your loved one, not a new employee. And it's difficult as an employer to walk over to one of your employees and say, you did a great job, CPR, keeping that individual alive. You only got 42 more years to go before you retire. And that's what this is about, professionalism and taking care of our employees.
Yeah, and obviously, a lot of them move on just like law enforcement. They'll go on to a second career and be able to work for your county, work for the private sector. This is just on the high stress, taking people having heart attacks, people in car wrecks, these high stress environments, they can get a 20-year retirement and go work somewhere else.
So from the recruitment and retention side of it, it's nothing. It's really something we've seen a big plus for. to be able to recruit and retain 911 dispatch.
So if I'm reading this correctly, you can literally start to draw off of this at 50 with 20 years of service?
Yes.
That's correct.
And then the personal one down here for me, because it hit me hard on tier 2, maximum of 5 years service credit for all active duty military. Is that purchased or is that given to them automatically? Is that a buyback?
I believe it's buyback. I think it's the same for all of them.
What's that under?
Very last column, all the way over.
Oh, yes, sir,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, and there's behind there. There's additional stuff on the back of that.
One of the issues I have with that is, you have to opt in within the first year, and they can't give you an amount. Like I'm a year and 2 months in, and I have no idea what that's going to cost me, no clue.
Right.
So that's a little touchy. That's something maybe you guys could kind of pull back on that just a little bit, but understood.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you on that, and the buyback for prior service, I know it has like a 2-year limit, and you're not really thinking about it until the end.
Well, yeah, you got one to file it, that's what I was
That's even
told when I
worse,
came in.
yeah.
As Russell stated a minute ago, the Senate passed the bill we got in the legislature now unanimous 2 weeks ago. And it's projected, and we've been told it'll be on the House committee next week.
And I mean, of
Do you
course,
know
you
what
guys are
committees? I'm
recruiting.
sorry, go ahead.
You guys are recruiting for numbers. I mean, to grow your program, to make sure that it's stable, to provide maximum growth, all those types of things.
Yeah.
That's your number one priority.
This will actually make the MSRS retirement much more stable.
Right.
Because we actually have more 911 employees than the EMS does.
Gotcha.
So this will make the program much more stable. And I think our last check, we were at 104% of funding. So
That's my next question.
And we're okay, like, we have no vested interest in the pension, the numbers are there already for the pension system, but our mission is just to make sure 911 is taken care of, and so that's why we're here to help him and help your county and your employees. We're representing the council, not our specific counties.
That's what I was going to ask. So the age of this program is the total age?
For the 911 specifically?
The EMSRS.
EMSRS has been at least a decade.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, right. I
right.
think it was like around 07, 08, I think.
Yeah.
That's the House Pension Committee, President Cole.
Well, EMS is
The
from
House Pensions Committee.
But, I mean, we do have enough.
Judiciary, Finance Committee.
It's double referenced House and Finance.
Right.
And in the Senate, this has no cost, just so you know, that it has no cost to the state whatsoever. In the Senate, they took it in pensions, and then they bypassed Finance.
Okay.
And we're hoping the thing will happen in the House.
You have anything you'd like to add?
I fully support it, and you all are aware of the problems we're having with Frontier and everything as well too, and these gentlemen right here is spearheading that, especially Dean. I know he's got 30 messages in the last 15 minutes from Frontier, so I appreciate everything they're doing, and they're moving the 911 in the right direction, and I fully support everything, so yes, I agree with it.
Have you had any discussions, commentary, anything like that from your dispatchers?
No, back when we started this over a year ago, they were all for it and I actually sent a list of my employees then to Dean. So all my former ones are okay with it as well too, that are still employed. So, and then we'll just move forward with any new hirees. Yes, I support it and would like to move forward with it.
We don't have to lay over a resolution, do we? We don't have to lay over a resolution, I don't think so.
Do we have one?
Yeah.
They included it in here.
Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further questions? Are there any motions?
I'll make a motion. We sign.
Okay, the motion's on the floor to approve this resolution to become a participating employer of the West Virginia Emergency Medical Services Retirement System. We each do have a copy of the resolution if you'd like to just look over it once more and make sure you don't have any further questions. And it reads, all eligible employees hired on or after the first day of the month following the date of the said resolution. So this will be starting in March 1st.
And the big statement clarification I'd like to make here, you said $500 per 10,000, right, payroll, roughly?
Yeah, it's 0.5%, so I think it's 500 per 100,000.
Okay, that's why I was trying to run real quick.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I know there is something, but we definitely want the, we go out on TV here, we definitely want the community to understand that we're once again making, even though it's a small investment, we're making an investment into our first responder system and their retirement, trying to do everything we can to.
Retention.
Yes, retention and
What's correct?
taking care of it at the end of the day
The
when they're
bad
done.
part is you've got good people that can retire when they're still in their prime.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. And definitely, it's almost like air traffic control. It's not something you're gonna spend 50 years in.
Right.
Yes, sir. Agreed. Yeah, I was just looking for that, like, our hook somewhere here that we're not seeing. It doesn't, it looks
And
really
of course,
awesome.
you know, all of this is payable from the 911 fund
Right.
that you get.
Yes.
And you actually, the wireless fee went up 3.37% in July, so at 0.5%, it's not gonna really be as damaging a thing, so.
Be absorbed.
Yeah.
Any further questions?
No, sir.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. We will, let's see here. I don't believe this calls for my signature.
It's Bob.
Only Clerk Painter. So if you'll allow us to close out our meeting real quick, we'll take care of this, or if you all need to stick around for it or however.
After we're done, I'm gonna take them down to the news center.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. So that being said, appreciate your all's time, appreciate you traveling to Nicholas County. Glad to have you in Nicholas County.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
And I think this is a good thing, and we're glad to be a part of it, so, very good.
Thank you, and if you need us back when the new bill passes,
Okay.
to answer any questions.
Yes, that would be great.
Absolutely.
And I want to say, you got a great staff. They're very, very accommodating.
Very good.
Very nice.
Very good.
Patty
Now, if the
and
president could just keep things on time. We gotta work on him, don't we?
I feel for you. I was a fiduciary commissioner in Wyoming County for
Oh, my.
27 years,
Oh,
so
my.
I feel for you when
Oh,
you do
my.
the states. But
Oh,
I know
absolutely.
how difficult it is.
It's a fun job.
We could use one of those guys.
Yeah, that's right. You wanna move up here?
That's
But,
all right.
anyways,
I have no desire.
is there any other,
PTSD, right?
That's right.
is there any other business we have not discussed? If not, we have our commissioners' comments. I have none.
I got one, or actually two real quick. First off, if you're watching this, Valentine's Day's next week. Please don't drop the ball on that. Secondly, we're getting some feedback on our dog warden and our dog catcher. I'd definitely like to have him on here next round, just to do a little spiel on what his services are and what he's capable of. I think a lot of the frustrations that come from the general public come from the fact that they don't have proper expectations of what his abilities are and what he's been enabled and basically sworn to do.
So let me interrupt real quick. I'd like to add perhaps even the prosecutor here also.
Absolutely.
To give a better understanding, perhaps like the issue with the cities and stuff like
Right,
that. But-
and I definitely,
but
that was my next point was, if it's an issue inside the two municipalities in the county, which is Richwood and Summersville, you have to deal with that with local law enforcement, with the leash law. They would escalate at that point into the dog warden, and if it's outside of that area, he has, basically he can do three things. He can pick up a stray dog, he can write a ticket for no dog tax, he can write a ticket for no rabies. That's about it, and he can enforce a 10-day quarantine if there's been an animal bite after validation of a rabies vaccination and a dog tax. But we do not pick up cats, and as far as if you're aggravated with your neighbor, that's something you don't want to take up with somebody else other than the dog warden. It's a real hot item in the county over the past few months, and like I said, proper expectations, I think folks will be a lot more satisfied with what they see. That's all I got.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, everybody's favorite motion. Do we have a motion to adjourn this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission? Today is Wednesday, February 7th, 2024, and it is 11:23 a.m.
Motion.
Motion's on the floor. He got it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. We do stand adjourned.